गेलं लाईव्ह हा मॅडम.
स्क्रीन शेअर केलेली आहे मी.
हां हां. सो लाईव्ह चालू झालं मॅडम.
ठीक आहे. Actually, we have something else to share also, Daivata madam. We need to begin our program in a different way. After that, you share your screen. Okay. Please stop screen sharing.
Shall I start?
Yes, yes. Teja.
Okay. Before the workshop begins, let's have some glimpses of Srimati Devi Laban Mehta, Department of Mass Media.
Hello everyone, my name is Minu Yadav and I am from SPM Doshi Women's College. I would like to welcome you to the YouTube channel of BMM Department of SPM Doshi Women's College. In this video, we will be apprising you about the various career opportunities available in the field of mass media. We all know that media graduates are very high in demand. This is because media courses offers wide range of scope for various different fields. Our college also offers us this degree with specialization in journalism, advertising, and animation, thus adding an advantage and motivating us to excel in either one of them. In short, media provides us with wide range of opportunities in copywriting, advertisement, anchoring, reporting, etc. So without further ado, let's begin with the video. I think the video imparted us with various career opportunities available in the field of mass media. At last, I urge you to like, share, comment, and don't forget to subscribe our channel. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Now I would like to make an announcement. I request everyone to put their doubts and questions in comment section below in the live chat or in the WhatsApp group. After the session, we will have a questionnaire round where we will present your questions to the guest and hope to answer them. So let's start with the session. A very hearty good morning to our honorable guest, principal, respected teachers, dear students and viewers. Myself Tejal Bagul of TYBMM doing specialization in advertising. I welcome you all on second day of the workshop on behalf of Srimati Devilaban Mehta, Department of Mass Media and Srimati P.N. Doshi Women's College. We have a great session lined up today for you filled with infotainment. Today's workshop is organized by Cinepedia Film and Drama Club, Department of Mass Media in association with Prabhat Chitra Mandal. Before commencing with today's session, allow me to brush up some moments from day one and bring back some enlightening memories. Our yesterday's guest was Dr. Santosh Pathare. He delivered an enlightening speech. He portrayed that cinema is a modern art form. He also explained about the history of cinema and filmmaking. He gave us brilliant examples of motion pictures of Lumiere brothers and Dadasaheb Phalke. He also said that one should not just only watch cinema. Watching cinema is appreciating an art form of an artist, because film is a creative expression of an artist. He also explained the concept of cinema very popularly by saying every film is made very thoughtfully, and at the end in Q&A session, he answered all the questions blessingly. So let's move on with today's session. Barayan, a movie which jotted down its impact on each and every person who watched it because of its story, art, and motto. It made us realize about the importance of freedom and right to choose one's future. It made us realize about the vast boundaries of filmmaking, as filmmaking is marvelous art. In today's session, we are going to learn about language of cinema to help you understand the key dynamics of what film is made up of. After every angle and every shot, the interpretation of scenes, and finally the whole movie is molded. It is an attempt to make you aware of the great potential of cinema and immense power of the artists and filmmakers aiming towards more enriching experience. I repeat, everyone to put their doubts and questions in comment section below in the live chat or in the WhatsApp group. After the session, we will have a questionnaire round where we will present your questions to the guest and hope to answer them. Now, I would like to call upon my dear friend Nisha Goswami to introduce our guest of the day.
Thank you, Tejal. I'm really glad to introduce our today's guest, Ms. Devita Patil Madam, who is Assistant Professor, Department of Communication and Journalism in University of Mumbai. Madam has more than 13 years of experience in teaching and also more than 7 years of experience in working in the industry. Madam has worked as a creative producer in Marathi film project called Barayan, which was released in 2018 in January. The film was screened at the prestigious Third Eye Asian Film Festival and is currently doing business in the overseas market. Madam is currently working as Assistant Director, Research and Technical Project Management at Africa Asia Scholars Group of Global Network, United Kingdom. Madam is also Consultant Research and Creatives in Onjal Arts Production, Mumbai, 3i Zone, Mumbai, CMCS in Canada, and Sage Publishing in India. Madam is also editorial board member of Journal of Mass Communication and Journalism published by David Publishing of United States of America, MLN in UK, IGCMS in India. She was also part of Vidya Vahini, that is Pune University FM radio project, as coordinator and scriptwriter. Ma'am has worked as marketing executive in Pune Creations Private Limited, and the list is endless. Now I request Ms. Devita Patil Madam to please begin with the session.
Ma'am, please unmute yourself. Your voice is not coming, madam.
Am I audible now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Nisha, for the wonderful introduction. And I would straight away jump to my lecture part since we're starting a little late. I would request Nimisha Madam at the end of the session to moderate the questions for me because it'll be very difficult for me to toggle between the screen and answer the queries.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much. Okay, so as rightly pointed out, and it's already communicated to you, the topic for today is language of cinema. And I've been told that I have to keep it Hindi and English, so I'll try to balance both the languages as much as possible. Okay, so before we start, a quick warm-up exercise. Tell me, I mean, you can just put it in the chat section. What comes to your mind when you say film? Just one word. What comes to your mind when you say film?
Actors and actress.
Okay, actors. What else? And then yeah.
Location.
Location, okay.
Entertainment.
Entertainment, wonderful.
Drama.
Drama, yes, indeed.
It is a world of fantasies.
Expressing feelings.
Expression, fulfilling, drama, fantasy. Any more? Okay. Now tell me, name one film you liked and disliked. And why? I've kept my questions and slides on screen so that just in case my voice breaks, you'll have text to read too. Yes. So name one film you liked and disliked.
Should we give chance to students first to answer?
Of course. Students should come first.
Because our choice differs from them drastically.
That's precisely we are doing this session.
Yes, yes.
So any movie or just from
Any movie, Hindi, English, Marathi, Malayalam, Telugu, any film.
I love this film, The Imitation Game.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it's based on history. So I love scientific movies. That's why I love that movie, and also my favorite actor, Benedict Cumberbatch. So that's why I like that movie.
Okay. So now, anyone else before I proceed? Any other answer?
Nisha ma'am, there are very few people are putting their answer in chat box. So can you share?
Yes.
Yeah. From WhatsApp?
Yes. Some people are, see students, can you please help us out with the answers in the chat box?
Many
because ma'am, this session is live.
Yes, Ye Jawani Hai Diwani.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now,
Three Idiot,
okay,
and
Three Idiots.
Fan is dislike.
Fan is dislike. Okay. Now, when you are in the offline world, when you are in your day-to-day life, you meet a lot of people, and when you interact with them, there are some people who just instantly connect, and you feel, oh wow, this is such a wonderful personality, and I would like to be in touch with this person. And then there are some people who you feel, oh my God, I would never want to meet this person again. This happens with you, right? Now, why does this happen? There's an overall impact of that person's personality on you, and one of the important components is language. How the person connects with you. Now, when I say language, I don't mean only the verbal communication. I mean the overall communication. So how the person is languaging with you. So maybe gestures and postures and choice of words, sentences, the way the person is dressing up, he's approaching you, she's approaching you, how the person is, giving the feedback. Overall, the overall personality is, comes out to you. And then if you find that overall languaging process appealing, you would connect to that person. And if you don't like that person's languaging process, you would probably not connect with that person. Films more or less are something like this only, because films are also trying to communicate something to you, and they are also languaging with you. Now, if that languaging reaches you, as you rightly, some of you said, oh, okay, this film I like, Three Idiots is very good, and Fan is not good, because somewhere you didn't connect with that film, somewhere you did connect with this film. Now, what makes this connection? So, will the offline communication parameters like words, sentences, grammar, and all that is the same with cinema also? I mean, the concept of languaging remains same, but the mode of communication changes. So we will be talking about how cinema uses different grammar syntax, different words, sentences to reach out to you. Okay. So one last question: which film would you recommend to me? I'm a big film, watcher. I love to watch films. So tell me, I mean, which film would you recommend to me and why? Name the one which I have not seen, because I've seen a lot of.
I am like I'm sort of parallel cinema lover. So the movies which I watched had lifelong impact on me are Suraj Ka Satwa Ghoda, Kamala Ki Maut, or Mirch Masala. I like that sort of three, but I try to find a lot of meaning in the movies, and that's why maybe I did not like Kabir Singh much, because it depends again. Like it's everybody's interpretation. Frankenstein or French Lieutenant's Woman. These are the movies which I like because there is so much of interplay, past and present. And Harold Pinter plays with that whole interplay. So maybe that kind of movies I like more. Okay.
Thank you for pinpointing the term parallel cinema. So I mean, I personally feel there is no parallel cinema. I mean, all cinema are cinema. I mean, there is good cinema, and I won't even say there is bad cinema. Nobody wants to make a bad cinema, right? Everybody, every director, every team member wants to make the best of the script available. So they are presenting their best side. Probably, like I said, the languaging did not reach you, and therefore you didn't connect with the message. But that doesn't mean that the film was bad, right? So there's no good cinema or bad cinema. I won't say. I mean, there can be I mean, again, no cinema is made for not for profit purpose. Everybody wants cinema to do business. So that's the ultimate thing. I mean, you are putting a lot of investment in the film, and you want it to be at least return on investment should be there, or at least the cost that you put in, that much amount you should get in return. Every producer wants it. So no producer would say, "Chalo yaar, aaj parallel cinema banate hain, to nuksan ho gaya, to ho gaya." There has to be some return which the producer expects in return. It can be monetary or it can be in the forms of awards and all that. But again, awards से पेट नहीं भरता है सिर्फ. No, आप पैसा डालोगे, पहली फिल्म में अवार्ड मिलेगा, दूसरी फिल्म में आपको पैसा चाहिए होगा. So what I'm trying to tell you is parallel cinema जो है जिसको हम कह रहे हैं, वो ठीक है. I mean, the story form, narrative form is different than the mainstream cinema, as people pointed out. But that doesn't mean that the purpose of making those films is not to do business. So languaging style is different for parallel cinema than the mainstream cinema. So Manmohan Desai and Mirch Masala, both of them are trying to communicate something to you. Now, see, even in your day-to-day life, you meet people. There are some people who are very serious, and they will be बहुत संजीदगी से आपसे बात करेंगे, संजीदगी से आप अपने आप को पेश करते हैं. और कुछ जो है वो कुहड़गिरी करते हैं, मजे में रहते हैं. कुछ जो है वो मजाकिया होते हैं, कुछ होते हैं वो बड़े सीरियस से होते हैं. तो ये जो जॉनर्स है, आपके ये जो एक्सप्रेशन है, जो नवरस है, ये आपके सिनेमा में भी उतने ही एप्लीकेबल है। तो जिनको जो अंदाज पसंद आता है वो उस भाषा शैली, जिनको जो भाषा शैली पसंद आती है, जो भाषा शैली का जो अंदाज पसंद आता है, आप उस सिनेमा से, उस कम्युनिकेशन से कनेक्ट होते हैं। तो क्या है ये सिनेमा की भाषा, इसी विषय पे हम आज बात करने वाले हैं। So, why it is important to study language
Pandit
of
madam,
cinema?
please switch off, you mute, you are out.
Thank you so much. So why is it important to study language? Because language of cinema shapes the way we think, and then we'll come to it, I mean, in the later part of the lecture where I have given examples. So it is very important to study language of cinema because cinema shapes up our thought process, and it is not only short term. It will, shape up your thought process, in a long term memory also. So therefore, cinema, and it is a popular culture, anything that comes to you in a very simplistic manner, entertaining manner, like someone said, registers for long, something which is very easy to absorb, registers long. And therefore, cinema has a long-term impact on individuals, society, and overall, overall. So cinema has the power to both influence a society's language use as well as reflect a society's language. So cinema, what is used in cinema, I mean, here when I say language, I mean the literal language, the text. So the dialogues and the screenplay, all the visuals which are shown, the fashion, clothing style, or the walking style, everything, right? From your Amitabh Bachchan's bell bottom to your Ranbir Kapoor's hairstyle to your Deepika Padukone's wardrobe collection, everything. So all these are components of language. So cinema has the power to influence society through this languaging process, and vice versa. Cinema also picks up from society for writing the script. So both complement each other. So I have, I have an image. It's not from any film. Can you tell me what comes to your mind when you look at this image? What is this image all about? Maybe a couple of you. What is this image all about? What comes to your mind? Or can you explain this image? What is it? Where is it? I like my virtual sessions to be, interactive. It's very boring. Any which ways, nobody's here. So now I'm just talking to the screen.
Enslaving
Am
people.
I audible? Yes.
Enslaving, making people slaves, and they're taken somewhere.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Nobody has given this feedback to me. Yeah. Sorry. Anyone else? Maybe in the WhatsApp group, students are commenting. What comes to your mind when you look at this image?
Anything comes in chat box, please share it with us, students.
Yes, ma'am.
What is this image all about? Okay.
Somebody put that Andha Kanun, inequality.
Okay, wonderful. Now, I give a context to this. I will say that these three people are sitting in front of a temple. I've changed the location. Assuming these three are sitting in front of temple, who are they?
Maybe they are begging.
They are begging, okay. Expected answer. I will say these three are sitting in front of hospital.
Waiting for their loved ones to be okay.
Okay. See, I have just changed the location. Image is same. So somebody pointed out that they like locations in the cinema. So how just one component of languaging, that is location, and your interpretation of the visuals is changing. The moment I say it is in front of temple, so if I'm keeping these three characters in front of a temple, you will, without me telling you, you interpret that, okay, these three are beggars. Now, if I put these three in front of a mosque, you will say these three are Muslim beggars. Though none of the characters reveal their religious identity, at least by looking at them. But the moment I put them in front of a temple, you will say, okay, they are beggars and they are Hindu beggars. Somebody who belongs to Hindu community. If I put them in front of a mosque, you will say, oh, they are beggars and probably they are Muslim beggars. Now I will tell you where this pic comes from. This pic is of Bhopal gas tragedy. Now immediately your context of looking at this image has changed. You've started empathizing with them. So when they were big beggars, probably empathy level was not very high. But the moment I say the background is of Union Carbide company, and this pic is taken in Bhopal when Bhopal gas tragedy happened. So what I'm trying to tell you is this is how languaging takes place. So this is an image, and in cinema we are talking about so many moving images at a very dynamic pace. So at a very fast pace, cinema is communicating to you and you are interpreting it. It happens at your subconscious mind. And therefore, there are a lot of pre-existing meanings which you associate with these visuals. Director doesn't tell you. So what are these pre-existing meanings? Probably through shots, music. So you will see that there are formula films. There is a typical way of a background score. So even the background score, when it is in the horror films, you will see a particular type of background score is used. A particular type of
given in chat boxes, they are being kidnapped. That was one answer given in chat box.
Okay, so they are being kidnapped. So yes. So how is meaning making taking place? Meaning making, because it is so, cinema में इतनी सारी moving images हैं और वो 2.5 घंटे के cinema में आप इतने सारे visuals को expose हो रहे हो. You don't sit with single visual, think about it for 5 minutes and then move on. You don't have time. It's a very high engagement tool. So what do you do? And therefore cinema makers, filmmakers use pre-existing meaning making process, I would say. In simple terms, we call it stereotyping. A hero, a heroine. I don't have to tell you that, even in the ad films for that matter. I will not say the person is a doctor. I don't have to say. I'll just put a stethoscope in, or a white coat. And that's about it. It says, okay, the person is a doctor. And if I have to show that the person is a lawyer, I would say, I would give a black robe to it. Lawyer's, uniform. Or if I want to show that the person belongs to police, the person has to be in uniform. Without uniform police, people will find it difficult to, understand. So these are costumes used as one of the tools of languaging. So I need not every time, announce that, okay, fine, he is our hero and he belongs to, this community and he is a, ex-person by profession. All of this is, automatically interpreted by you. The way you are putting your shot, your angle, the dialogue, music, all of it. All these components, there's one word to it in cinema. Cinema studies, we call it mise-en-scene. We'll talk about it. So moving on, why we should study images. Why is it important to study images? Probably to understand the physical reality of a person, to understand cultural references of a person, or to understand various sets of meanings. So I have few images for you. See this? This is a typical Ramsay brother, plot. Ramsay brothers were known for their horror genre. And the moment you see this, outdoor location, And along with this, you have some horror music. There's no horror music, but then maybe, the sound of night and howling, owls howling, cat mewing, all these sounds, if they accompany along with these visuals, I don't have to tell you that, okay, what is happening next. You'll immediately, grab someone's, hand who's sitting next to you, and then you're like, ab kuch hone wala hai, ab shayad bhoot aayega. और उसमें आप इमेजिन भी करते हो, अब शायद भूत गेट में से आएगा, शायद हाथ एकदम से स्क्रीन के ऊपर आएगा, या कोई कैरेक्टर स्क्रीन पे आएगा. ये सारी इमेजिनेशन आपकी शुरू हो जाती है just by looking at this visual and the background score that is coming. So images help you to locate physical reality of an image, this particular image is helping you do that. Or look at this image. Farhan Akhtar, okay, he belongs to Sikh community because he's worn particular attire. And those who know about this film, they'll say, okay, this is Bhag Milkha Bhag, which is an autobiography of Milkha Singh. Milkha Singh was this, that, वगैरह वगैरह. जितना information आपके पास है, उसके हिसाब से आप इस image को process करोगे. जिनको पता ही नहीं है ये फिल्म भाग मिल्खा भाग की है, वो कहेंगे some image, और जिनको फरहान अख्तर ही नहीं पता, वो कहेंगे पता नहीं, कोई इंसान है जो जिसने ब्लैक कलर का जैकेट पहना है. जिसको सिख कम्युनिटी भी नहीं पता है, वो ये भी नहीं बता पाएगा कि ये सिख कम्युनिटी को बिलोंग करता है. तो जो प्री एग्जिस्टिंग मीनिंग्स हैं, वो कहीं ना कहीं आपके बैक ऑफ माइंड चलते रहते हैं टू इंटरप्रीट इमेजेस. बिसाइड्स आप यहाँ देखोगे, इमेज को देख के आप अंदाज लगा रहे हो कि अच्छा कुछ तो मजाक का सीन चल रहा है, क्योंकि एक बंदा जो है वो हंस रहा है, लेकिन दूसरा जो बंदा है पीछे बैकग्राउंड में फरहान के, वो हंस नहीं रहा है, वो परेशान है. तो क्या ये सीन कॉमेडी है, या क्या ये सीन फाइट सीक्वेंस है, या इन जनरल बातें हो रही है, या दो लोगों के बीच में बहस हो रही है, और ये दो लोग जो है वो एक ग्रुप को बिलोंग करते हैं, फरहान एंड द अदर पर्सन बिलोंग टू अनदर ग्रुप, बिकॉज दे आर वेयरिंग सेम क्लोथ्स, बिकॉज दे आर वेयरिंग ब्लैक जैकेट and India is written, so probably this is some kind of uniform, they belong to some kind of academy. Now I'm not telling these to you, you yourself are interpreting this visual in this manner. तो जितना आप सोचोगे, जितना इमेज के अलग अलग कंपोनेंट्स देखोगे, आप उसको उतना डिकोड करते जाओगे. घर में है कि बाहर है, ये बाहर है, कहीं आउटडोर लोकेशन है, खुला मैदान है, looks like a rural place just by looking at or some scenic place. शायद पानी है पीछे. Look at this third image. Now again, those who know about the film, it's an iconic film. DDLJ?
Yeah.
और ये सीन क्या है? करवा चौथ का.
करवा चौथ.
अब मैंने नहीं बताया ये. जिन्होंने फिल्म देखी है वो कहेंगे अच्छा करवा चौथ अगेन रेड कलर, वेयरिंग ऑल द ज्वेलरी, फीडिंग ईच अदर. छत का ये लग रहा है तो शायद मुंडेर पे है, पंजाबी अटायर लग रहा है, या शायद नहीं, कुछ ट्रेडिशनल पहना है, इफ नॉट पंजाबी. और जब ये तो विजुअल्स को, लेकिन जब आप इसको रिलीजन के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखते हैं तो आप कहेंगे करवा चौथ माने क्या? जो पत्नी अपने पति के लिए रखती है. And then you're getting into the cultural nuances of this image. Those who understand. A step further, those who are married will interpret this image differently as compared to those who are unmarried. Those who are married and are happy with their spouse will interpret this image differently. I'm talking about married women. And those married women who are not happy with their spouse will interpret this image. Image has not changed. Interpretations have changed. So this is what cinema does to you. This is what images do to you. So what is film language? Film language film doesn't have a literally language in language senses where you have letters and words and all that, A, B, C, D and all that. But it is used as a metaphor or comparison. So if at all cinema had a language, what would be the grammar of cinema? So there is no single basic, linguistic unit. There is no formal grammar, or films do not, have typical sentence or paragraph structures. But they do make statements. They do communicate paragraphs to you. And what are they? So if we have to, compare cinema language, I would say shots can be compared to words, scenes can be compared to sentences, and sequences can be compared to paragraphs. So when you are watching a film, you watch a sequence, a scene, and a shot. So a scene comprises of various shots. A sequence may comprise of various scenes. And again, the duration of sequence, scene, or shots vary. There is no standard duration. Okay, fine. Shot जो है वो 1 सेकंड का ही होना चाहिए, scene जो है वो 5 मिनट का होना चाहिए, sequence जो है वो 15 मिनट का होना चाहिए. ऐसा कुछ नहीं. Depending on the story, your shots, scenes, and sequences can vary. So these shots, scenes, and sequences are often difficult to differentiate. Like I said, there is no time duration to it. A lengthy one shot can be considered as a scene. So if some of you have watched the film, Japanese film, One Cut of the Dead, where the first shot actually is a scene. It is a one-take shot, which was for almost 28 minutes, 30 minutes. So whether to call it as a shot or whether to call it as a scene, so such exceptions may be there. Or there was a short film by Gandhi, Right Here, Right Now. It is a 2-shot film. So one shot is again almost for 15-20 minutes or maybe more than that. And then there's a cut and then second shot. So entire short film is of 2 shots only. So whether to call them shot or whether to call them scene or whether to call them sequence. So there are times when these terms overlap each other. Now, a lengthy shot can be considered as a scene. Statements can be made within a shot using movement, focus, color, proxemics, camera position, all these. So you are taking one shot and within that shot, you are shifting the focus. You're putting someone in the background, you're putting someone in the foreground, or there's sudden jerk, or there's sudden sound, or the camera position is, tilts up and goes up, or tilts down, or camera angle is changing within one shot. That also happens. So that means you are trying to communicate something within that shot by using various camera movements. So there are 2 types of statements. Typically, if we look at cinema language, that is paradigmatic statements and syntagmatic statements. Paradigmatic, like I said, mise en scene or mise en scene, both are correct. Which means how you are shooting it and what you are shooting it. So like I said, lights, camera, costume, property, all these are, components of mise en scene. So when you are studying mise en scene, basically you're looking at breaking the one scene into various components and studying it. So those are paradigmatic statements. But beyond that, there are certain syntagmatic statements, which are highly contextual in nature. So somebody also mentioned expressionism. So what you probably are reading is you're reading syntagmatic sentences. So it is usually associated with the expressionism. How you are editing it, how you are using a montage, or how 2 images are juxtaposed on each other and you're trying to communicate a meaning. We'll talk about it. I have examples of all. So you look at syntagmatic statements first. So here in this image, you will see that you have George Bush and you have chimpanzee. Nobody says anything to you. Just look at the images, look at the expressions, pout. What does this mean? Is the photographer trying to say George Bush is equivalent to chimpanzee? Or the photographer is saying chimpanzee is equivalent to George Bush? Just by putting these 2 images together, this is a simple edit. So these are called syntagmatic statements. I share 2 examples from my film Barayan, where there was a mechanic, Kushal Badrike, and his name is Javed. So he's a Muslim mechanic. But if you look at his garage, you will see there are 2 flags. One is orange, one is green. So how the color is used as a languaging, unit. Nobody is saying anything to you. There is one green colored flag, one orange colored flag. No, I'm not saying this is BJP or this is Hindutva or this is Islam or whatever. Just by looking at this image, you will have certain meanings in your mind. Probably you will say both the flags are together, so he must be a very secular person. So does this image talk something about the character of the person? In the same scene, where a doctor comes to repair his car in his garage, so there is a point of view shot. This is a POV shot. From inside the car, you will see there is a doctor's logo and there is Nimbu Mirchi. And then this doctor in the dialogues is talking about, is showing attitude to the mechanic, saying that I'm a doctor and you're a mechanic. And look at you, what are you doing? And I'm a white collared person and you're a blue collared job person. But this particular image talks about the liberal thinking. So in the first image, you had 2 flags talking about positioning a character from a particular standpoint. And in the second image, where two characters are interacting with each other, you have Nimbu and doctor's cross, which talks about that particular character. Now, how many of us are actually looking at cinema from these nitty-gritty point of view? Not everybody is capable of reading this language thoroughly. But that happens in real life also. I mean, not all of us can understand paragraphs the way everybody does. So when the language of cinema is used, everybody reads these statements differently. Everybody reads these paragraphs differently. The one who's watching it more and has more experience. So, if you're a regular novel reader, there comes a point where, you stop reading words and letters and sentences, but you start reading paragraphs and then probably pages. So that is something which comes out of experience. So if you're a regular cinema watcher, probably you'll start, looking beyond the shots that are taken. You're looking at other components also, but not everybody does that. So these examples which I gave are syntagmatic statements of cinema. We'll come to pragmatic statements, which is mise-en-scene, and we'll take one by one examples. So you have costumes and props. So when you're looking at the costume, what are the questions that you need to ask to yourself? What are they wearing? How does it fit the mood? Are the costume changes important and noticeable? How well did the props play in? Whatever props means, properties which the character is using. Were they useful or too obtrusive? So I'll share these questions. I'll explain these questions with the help of some examples. You see this image. Which film is this?
Krish.
Krish.
Yeah.
So what comes to your mind when you look at this costume? What comes to your mind when you look at this costume?
Superhero costumes.
Okay. So superheroes are somebody who wear masks and stuff like that?
Yes, that's why. Superheroes.
Who tells you this? That superhero means somebody who wears a mask?
The costume itself portrayed this.
So there's some kind of stereotyping when it comes to superhero costumes. All superheroes, have some kind of mask, some kind of jacket. They have a typical angle at which they look at, expressions, body language, everything is, stereotype. So when you look at the person, you will say, okay, fine, this person is a superhero. And if a superhero, if you have seen Shaktiman of the tele serial, So you have Gangadhar and you have superhero, he turning into a superhero. So when he's, regularly dressed in an office wear, you won't say that he's a superhero. But the moment he changes costume, you'll say, okay, now something will happen.
Yeah.
So that is the impact of costume on you. He's not doing anything. He's just changing the costume. And then you're looking forward like this. Ab kuch hoga. You move ahead. So just a costume will help you, interpret the scene. Look at this. This is a film. What is the name of the film? Dream Girl.
Yeah.
And something, yeah. So you will say, okay, a man is dressed up like a woman. And those who can identify this man, you'll say, Ayushmann Khurrana is dressed up like a woman. Oh, Ayushmann Khurrana must be a good film. Because all Ayushmann Khurrana films have been good so far. So the script must be good. Plot must be different. Just by looking at this image. And when you look at it, oh, this is something interesting. Probably he's dressed up like Sita. Because Ramayan, Sita looked like him. Now there are some, iconic costumes which cinema has given to us, which till date, women wear. So whenever it is a retro party, the first costume, and if you're supposed to wear sari, the first costume that comes to, at least to my mind, comes is Mumtaz, the way she dressed. So this was for the first time a sari was draped like this on screen, and it became an iconic costume. So costumes may have long-term, impact also. I would like to, mention PK specifically, because all Aamir Khan costumes were very different, unique, and the reason behind it. So when you were looking at marketing, trailers and all that, or when Aamir Khan was dressed up like this in his press conference events, you were like, what is this? There was some kind of curiosity. So only costumes build that curiosity in your mind. Why is he dressed up like this? What could be the reason? What character he's trying to play? He doesn't look like regular Aamir Khan. His ears are different. So that's makeup. So just by looking at makeup and costume and props, so he's using some props. So there's a radio. That is a prop. So in one of the images, he is not wearing anything, just the radio.
Just radio.
And then that same radio is seen in different images. And then you're like, you associate why this particular property is visible in all images. What could be the reason? And then you become inquisitive about that prop. Is the prop usage correct? And then when you watch the film, it is explained why the character is using that prop and why the character is wearing weird dresses. And it is justified. Earlier, when you see it, you're like, you don't know why he is doing it. Probably he's mad, probably he's, a spy. And therefore he's, wearing different costumes to disguise people. But when you watch the film, you're like, he's not a spy, he's an alien. And he's picking clothes from here and there, and therefore he's mix matching. He doesn't belong to this planet. And therefore he doesn't know what are male costumes and female costumes. And therefore he does mix and match. But towards the end, he's got a hang of it and he's wearing proper, as we define them, costumes. So the second component is setting and background. So when you're looking at the background settings, right now I'm sitting in a room, there's some yellow colored paint in the backdrop, there's some frame. All these are settings. So just by looking at this frame, you are trying to, understand the location. Where am I sitting? So there's a plug point here. There's a charger attached to it. Things like that. So does the setting fit the scene? Are the background actions distracting or they steal your attention? Is it believable or too fake? Such things are important when you're looking at settings and background. So look at this. Which film is this? Which film is this?
Kedarnath.
Correct, Kedarnath. So Kedarnath, as the name of the film is talking about a location. So that means obviously it has to be shot in Kedarnath, or it has to at least give a feel of Kedarnath. And if you see the locations used in Kedarnath, they are more or less pahadi area hai, hilly area hai. ठंड का feel आ रहा है because everybody is wearing warm costumes and all. But had it been Kedarnath, मैं बोल रही हूँ and I'm shooting it in Mumbai, and I say okay, this is Kedarnath, it won't be convincing. You will say that this background is fake. Right now, this background looks real. Look at this one. It's a shot from Dangal. So here also some background is used. There are people. You can't identify them. That is how it is supposed to be. Because the moment you will bring them closer, their expressions are seen and you will get distracted. Because the director wants you to pay attention on these two characters. Or to be more specific, on the character which is wearing a black costume. Because her expressions are to be seen. So in this particular image, background is used, but it is again not distracting what is happening in foreground. This is a screenshot from my film. So he is a milkman giving some comment on the system. So if I have to show him as a milkman, he is in a bhains ka tabela, and there are buffaloes seen in the backdrop. It is easier for me to tell that he is a milkman. So backgrounds help establish a character, because this fellow is coming on screen for a very short period of time. And it is not a very important character. He's not a primary character. He's a secondary character. So I can't give more screen duration to him. So for whatever little period he is coming, people should be able to interpret and understand what character he is, what does he do and all that. I don't have time to, explain it. So I am using background and settings to show what the character is doing. Or look at this. So there are some examples where, cheating happens. It is said something, but it is shot somewhere else, probably for, shooting convenience. But you try to look as close as possible. So even if you are using different locations, you have to ensure that the locations are convincing to the audiences and are faithful to the script, whatever the script location is saying. So in Bajrangi Bhaijaan, you'll see that most of the shots were shot in Kashmir. Obviously, who will get permission to shoot in Pakistan? So if I'm showing Pakistan and I need to use locations which are close to Pakistan, so I shot near borders. Or in Chennai Express, most of the locations, in what you see right now is Pune. But it is shown in film that it is Chennai. So shifting the entire crew to Chennai and shooting is a little expensive affair. So can I get something similar nearby? Given a choice, I would do that, because that saves my money. So from production point of view, you have to, sometimes take decisions. It's not that they don't want to shoot in Chennai. Sometimes it is convenient, sometimes it is economical to shoot, or sometimes it is not possible to shoot in original locations, like Pakistan.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry to interrupt you.
Next component is music.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes.
There's a concern in live chat that in some movies, background scene scores more than actors' performance.
Of course. No, we don't have this practice in India, very common, but some of the Hollywood studios compose the entire background score first, and then they go on floor, because that background score will help the director and the actor to understand the mood of the scene. So that is the importance of background music, or music for that matter, in film. So how does the music fit in? Is it distracting or is it too soft? Sometimes you feel that music is overpowering the actor, the character, and you will say, "नहीं यार, music को थोड़ा down करो." और कई बार म्यूजिक बिल्कुल नहीं होता है क्योंकि परफॉर्मेंस ही इतना स्ट्रांग होता है कि आपको लगता है कि म्यूजिक डालने के बाद शायद परफॉर्मेंस खराब हो जाएगा। तो कुछ सीन्स ऐसे होते हैं जहां पे कोई म्यूजिक नहीं होता है, इट्स जस्ट द एक्टर डूइंग द टॉकिंग. So does it help the movie go along? Obviously, yes. So music is also important. So when you are looking at the language of cinema, you can't just read one element in isolation. It is the impact of overall elements. It's a collective impact. But when you are interpreting it, you don't, decode each element separately. Okay, music ऐसा था, location ऐसा था, costume ऐसा था, ऐसा अलग अलग नहीं सोचते हो. मेरा पर्पस है कि ओवरऑल उसका एक इम्पैक्ट आप पर आना चाहिए, और वो अगर सक्सेसफुल हो जाता है तो वो सीन जो है वो लोगों तक कनेक्ट हो जाता है. सो I am not playing any music for you because then in virtually sometimes the music doesn't reach you all. But you can imagine whatever music you have listened to in your films, or probably after the lecture watch some scenes and just try to listen to the music. So what kind of music Shubhamangal Savdan had? So because the character was Kumar Sanu fan. So did you feel 90s music was filled throughout the film? Even the songs, which are original compositions, gave a feeling of 90s film music. So all this was done purposefully. So probably you should watch, listen to Shubhamangal Savdan background score. It uses those elements, musical elements of 90s. Or a film like Barfi. Why music is so important in Barfi? Because both the characters are not talking. So when the characters are not talking, there are no dialogues. It's only the remaining characters who are doing the dialogue, but the protagonist is not doing the talking. In such a case, it is, we are not used to this particular kind of films where protagonist is not doing the talking. Khamoshi the musical by Sanjay Leela Bhansali, it didn't do very good in box office because people went to watch film because of Nana Patekar, and Nana Patekar was mute, deaf and mute in the film, and people didn't like it. It was like, if I'm going to watch Nana, I want to see Nana Patekar's original form, like Kranti Veer or Usme Jo Kiya. People could not connect to it. So when a character is deaf and mute, it is all the more important that music plays a very important role. So if you'll see, the entire background score of Barfi is fantastic. It just helps the scene progress because there is no talking. So it's only the music which is taking the film scenes ahead in most of the film. Then comes acting and camera techniques. What is acting? So did you believe the characters? So somebody said she watches films because of actors and actresses.
Yes,
So,
I said that.
So which means you position importance to the characters which are shown on screen. So if the characters are not convincing to you, probably you will not watch that film, or you will not like that film. Or you are a person who would go to watch a film because of the celebrities.
Yes, exactly.
See? So which means this part of languaging appeals to you. So did you believe the characters? Not if you like them or not, but they make you believe they were real. If the characters are not able to make you feel that they are real, they behave fake, or they don't appeal convincing, probably you will not like, you will not connect to the character, or you will not like the film. And then comes camera techniques, which is what sort of shots does the director typically use and what is the impact of them. We'll discuss both of them. See this. Zero. It was a box office disaster. Now, why people didn't like Shah Rukh as a dwarf because it was not convincing to look at Shah Rukh as a dwarf. And one thing you need to understand, when a character is playing a dwarf character, so there are, see, it is a form of disability. Unlike you are blind, deaf, or mute, or physically disabled with one leg or one hand or anything of that sort, there is something to act on. You are doing acting because you are an able-bodied character playing the role of a disabled body. And therefore you are acting. So you have to behave and convince your audiences that you are blind, which Rani Mukherjee did in Black. Or the character of Anushka Sharma in Zero. She's on wheelchair. So she had to do acting. But what acting Shah Rukh did as a dwarf, does the dwarf speak differently? Does he walk differently? Does he sit differently? Does he stand differently? No. So which means dwarfs are facing different social issues, psychological issues, which the character failed to deliver. And if you've seen Appu Raja, where Kamal Hassan played the character, it is a fantastic film when it comes to, looking at dwarf from a social and psychological standpoint. There was a fantastic scene where it's a scene of rejection, where the woman he loves, she takes him as a witness for court marriage. And the entire camera, I mean, it is low angle and it is, facing, it's showing Kamal Hassan only, his expressions. Fantastic scene it is. It must be available on YouTube. Such elements was missing when it comes to Zero. In none of the scene, Bhuva Singh faced that trauma. So Shah Rukh was Shah Rukh. It is just that the height of Shah Rukh was, less. And therefore, the character appeared fake or did not connect as real. And the film flopped. So this is a screenshot. Another technique that director generally uses is a character that seems larger than any other in the frame. So you will see Madhav's character, the main character, is slightly bigger than secondary character, junior artist. So just by positioning like this, I am telling my audience about character scenes and shots are pieced together and connected in order to provide meaning. So how I put one after the other and what kind of impact it is having on you. What is the age?
Hello?
Yes?
Actually,
Is
your
my voice
breaking.
Hello?
We
Yeah.
are unable to hear you.
Your internet connection low might be. Maybe your internet connection is.
Ma'am, we can do one thing. You can put your video off so that there may be voice clarity.
Okay, I'll do that.
And ma'am, repeat 5 minutes session we
Yes.
miss out.
We missed out.
I will do that.
Mhm.
Okay. Am I audible now? Is this better?
Yes,
yes,
sir.
ma'am, you're audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm not able to switch off my video. Maybe host can do it from his end.
And it's okay. It's okay, ma'am. As far as you are audible, it's not a problem.
Okay, so maybe if I'm not audible, host can take the liberty to switch off my video. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I switch off right now
Thank you so
your video. You continue.
Please, ma'am, mic a little bit.
I'll repeat what I said 5 minutes ago
Yes, ma'am.
for those
Please.
who couldn't hear it. I was talking about acting, and I discussed two examples. One from Zero film, where Shah Rukh played a character of a dwarf, and the other one was Kamal Hassan from Appu Raja. So what I was telling was that Shah Rukh's character doesn't appeal as real. It comes out as a very fake character. It doesn't convince you as a dwarf. Reason being, because Shah Rukh is not looking, except for he looking dwarf, he's not doing anything which convinces him as a dwarf character. Because dwarfs are normal human beings. I think I got disconnected. Am I audible? I think I got disconnected.
Yes, yes,
No,
ma'am.
no,
you're
you are audible, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So there's nothing to act when it comes to being playing the character of a dwarf, because the dwarf person walks like a normal person, talks like a normal person, sits and and all the positions, bodily positions are normal, unlike a deaf and mute, unlike a blind person. So if Rani Mukherjee is playing the character of a blind person in black, then she has to act upon. I mean, she has to look like a blind person. She has to convince you that she can't see. Or Barfi's character, Ranbir Kapoor's character, has to look convincing. Again, I mean, playing a mute person, at least then you are doing some gestures. So that makes the audiences feel, okay, fine, the person can't talk. But a dwarf person, I mean, there's nothing to act. A dwarf person feels the psychological trauma and sociological trauma, society's, comments, and he's, laughed at and all that. So that has a long-term impact on the person's psychology, which is very important that it should come out in the film. And in the entire film, nowhere has it happened where Shah Rukh Khan has faced that trauma. Shah Rukh is like a hero only. बुआ सिंह जो है वो फाइट करता है, वो उसकी सर्कल जो है, सोशल सर्कल उसमें फेमस है, लोग दोस्त हैं उसके, they admire him, everything. Unlike Appu Raja, where Appu Raja mein, if you see, when he was rejected by his love, एक scene है जहाँ पे वो the girl he loves, she is getting married, and it's a court marriage, and Kamal Hassan is taken as a witness. The entire film talks about the feelings a dwarf, I mean that particular scene, feelings a dwarf person must be going through, or his agony, or the dialogues which Kamal Hassan has with her mother, कि मैं ही बौना क्यों हूँ, मेरे साथ ही ऐसा क्यों हुआ, उस तरीके का जो वो रियल लगता है, वो फेक नहीं लगता है, और इसीलिए वो कैरेक्टर कन्विंस होता है. लेकिन जीरो में कहीं भी ये वाली फीलिंग नहीं आती. अनुष्का's character, yes, it was very powerful than Shah Rukh's character, I feel. So acting is very important, when you are looking at cinema language. So this is a screenshot of Kamal Hassan in Appu Raja. I mean, let's not look at the technology, because at that time it was very difficult, cinematically to show a dwarf character, unlike Zero. So, those things can be ignored. I'm just looking at, or I'm just talking about performances. So look at the performances. Or another technique which is used by the directors or filmmakers is how you are positioning the character. So if you see in this frame, there are three characters. One is slightly bigger, the other is smaller than them, and the third one is even smaller. And when you look at the scene, your attention will go first to the male character, then to the female character, and probably to the third character, and the background people who are there, you may not be noticed also by you. So just by positioning your characters in different intervals or different positions, there is some kind of meaning making happening. So this technique can also be used. So what you need to look at is how the acting, directing, cinematography, sound, and editing affect the story you are trying to narrate. Watch closely for scenes and shots are pieced together and they're connected to make the overall communication impact. So as a cinema student, you should do this. When we do research on cinema, one scene of 5 minutes, you can write entire thesis on it. Imagine, that is the level of slicing you can do in that one 5-minute clipping. What aesthetics affect the film is aiming at? What is the goal of the film? I'm not saying only parallel films or mainstream films are aesthetically beautiful. All films are aesthetically beautiful. Understand the aesthetics. Does it want to scare you, move you? So like Nimisha madam said, drama. So probably, I want to move your emotions. So I'm using drama as a genre. Ramsey Brothers or Raz 1, 2, 3, 4. They're trying to scare you. So what am I trying to do? Accordingly, I will use the languaging of my film. What assumptions does it make about the world when you are, narrating the story? Remember that whenever you are narrating a film story, it is just the mid part of the story. There's something happening before those 3 hours, and there is something happening after those 3 hours or 2 hours. These days, films are 2 hours. So what 2-hour film you watch, there's some kind of story which is before that, there's something which is happening after it. What you see is in between part of those characters. So if the actor, actress, protagonist is living a life, you are just looking at 2-hour story of their life. It's practically impossible to show the entire life journey of the character, and it's not needed also. What is important is what is the story and how you're moving it ahead, what elements you're using. So because you are filming only 2 hours in between, in these 2 hours the character may grow up from a child to an elderly young fellow, or from a young to a old fellow, or the entire journey as a child, then a young fellow, and then middle aged, and then an old man, whatever it is. But what you see in either cases is just those 2 hours of story. So what assumptions are you making while you are writing your story, while you are designing your characters? So if at all you are just looking at one particular age band of the character, maybe 20s, 30s, then what happened to that character before 30s and what will happen in near future, वो तो उस पे आप focus नहीं करते, लेकिन what you need to focus is what happened before, because what happened before is shaping up that character. The character, the way he is behaving, talking, walking, eating, all that, there is a reason to it. There's a web series, Asur. I don't know if you've seen it. So the character is behaving in a negative shade because there is a reason to it. So you have to understand, and therefore the series starts with the childhood trauma of the character, so that the character is convincing when he grows up. So what are the assumptions you are making when you are writing the story or when you are narrating the story? And in the second case, when your character is playing all 4 age groups, a child, a young, a middle age, and an old person, you are again doing assumptions. Because as a child, you don't show all 15 years of his childhood. There's only one particular age. Maybe he's shown as a 10-year-old. So there is again assumption. Then again, cut to he's shown as 20-year-old. Cut to he's shown as 40-year-old. So in between something is happening for half an hour and then again the character is 40-year-old. In between something is happening for half an hour and the character is 60-year-old. So which means you are assuming for the in-between period, 20 years. So there is an assumption in all stories. Understand those assumptions and use the language accordingly. So sometimes in dialogues, they try and tell you कि मेरी माँ जब ऐसी थी तो उसके साथ ऐसा हुआ और इसलिए मैं यहाँ पे बदला लेने के लिए आया हूँ, वगैरह वगैरह जो भी है. So कई बार आप अपनी स्टोरी खुद कहते हो या सामने वाला जो होता है ये बेचारा पागलों की तरह घूम रहा है क्योंकि इसके साथ ऐसा हुआ. तो इस तरीके का नरेशन आपके कैरेक्टर्स जो है वो बताते हैं, क्योंकि आप स्पून फीड करना चाह रहे हो अपने ऑडियंस को. आप बताना चाह रहे हो कि ये कैरेक्टर ऐसा क्यों बिहेव कर रहा है. तो ये अजम्पशंस जो हैं वो आप अपने तक रखोगे या उसे आप कम्युनिकेट भी करना चाहते हो, ये आपके ऊपर है. या कई बार फिल्मों में बीच में एंकर यूज होता है जो दो सीन्स को या दो अलग अलग स्टोरीज को, पैरेलल स्टोरीज को ज्वाइन करता है और वो बीच में नरेट करता है. कभी कभी फिजिकली आता है, जैसे मिस्टर एंड मिसेस खिलाड़ी में परेश रावल का कैरेक्टर was playing this role, या कई बार वो सिर्फ वॉइस में आता है, जैसे लगान में अमिताभ बच्चन की वॉइस यूज हुई है. तो अलग अलग एलिमेंट्स आप यूज कर सकते हो अपनी स्टोरी को आगे पहुंचाने के लिए. So we'll look at few settings. So if you look at this image, it tells you something about this room. It tells you something about the user of this room. It's a neatly organized room, looks lavish, doesn't look like a poor family, but it doesn't look like a very rich family also. Probably somebody who belongs to upper middle class. Probably it is a hotel room. This image. So this looks like an office desk. Somebody who's at a senior position in the office, a director or an executive or CEO or CFO, just by looking at the image. Or look at this character. Looks like a very small room, probably a bachelor, has fit into a small room and the entire thing, and there's Bruce Lee image in the background. So maybe a sports lover. Jackie Chan, sorry, not Bruce Lee. So all these elements tell you something, and it's a shabby room. Probably the room is small and there's a lot of luggage, whatever it is. So these images tell stories to you. A person who lives in this kind of house is a rich person, or probably this is not a bungalow. It is a hotel room, hotel lawn. Again, now in the previous images, these images are of location. Now these are also of location. Now look at what does it tell you about the character of a person.
For kids?
Yes, for kids. See, I didn't say anything. Just by looking at the image, you will say, oh, this must be a kid's room.
In school for playgroup students, like that.
Maybe a school for playgroup student. Who lives here? Who lives here?
Probably a messy person, obviously.
A messy person, unorganized person. Or maybe it is a crime scene where police have just, were trying to search something. Or maybe it is a place where theft happened, burglary happened.
Yes.
So try to look at various interpretations. There can be multiple, interpretations. So we'll just quickly discuss shot types. I'm assuming you all have learned this. in your syllabus. This is extreme long shot, where the entire location and backdrop is established. All these screenshots are from my film, so there is no copyright issue. Okay, this is a long shot where you are coming a little closer. The camera is coming a little closer to the characters. So in earlier one, the characters were far off. This is little closer. So you're moving camera closer, closer, closer. That's the trick. This is called mid-long shot, where the character is visible up to knee length. This is a mid shot where the character is visible up to the waist size. And it is also called a 3 shot because there are 3 characters in the film, in the scene. This is mid close up. So which means you are till the bust size, the character is visible. So it's called mid close up. You go a little closer and then this is called close up, where you're trying to show details of the characters or the object. The more detail you want to show, the closer you will go. The more you want to establish the setting and the background and the location, you would go behind, as in the camera will be behind. So you'll go for extreme long shots and long shots. Then you have extreme close up. So sometimes to create extreme drama or extreme intense emotions, when the character is crying or when there is a love scene, or you want to focus on some element which is very important and audiences need to look at that time you use extreme close-up. So how do you create drama using camera distance? These are different long shots and extreme long shots and mid shots which are used collectively to create drama. This is just one example. Again, this is not standard. I mean, you can use your mix and match. So you have a long shot, you have a mid shot, you have a close-up, you have extreme close-up, and then again you come back, long shot, mid shot, close-up, extreme close-up, close-up, you come back to long shot. You can use different permutation combination, not necessarily, if the camera distance is moving in from out to in, it has to stay there. You can always come out and move in. This is just one. Then there's tilt up and tilt down. So when your camera goes up, tilt up, goes down, tilt down, pan left, pan right. These are various, camera movements which are used. Dolly shot, tracks are used. We're not getting into the technicalities of it. So this is a 2 shot because there are 2 characters seen on screen when 2 characters are talking to each other. This is a 3 shot where 3 characters are visible. This is a low angle shot. So I talked about angles. So you have camera angle, which is generally used at 3 levels. One is the low angle. That means the character is here and the angle is here, somewhere. Eye level, which is the object and the camera angle are facing each other, and top angle, God's eye view or bird's eye view, where the angle is top and the character is down. So these are 3. I mean, I'm giving you very basics. There are more experiments also. These are very basic angles. So 3 types of angles are used. So this is a low angle shot. So you'll see the sky is visible. Priyadarshini, in most of the films, you'll see he uses low angle shots. See, in all his films, sky is very much visible. It gives a very clean, fresh feel when you are using, when you are showing more of a sky. This is again a low angle shot. When the character is shown to be dominant, or when the character is negative, or when the character is overpowering the other character, then low angle shot is used. You will see Hitler is always, in most of the pics, Hitler is clicked from low angle, slightly low angle, because the character should look dominant. So there is a reason why angles are used by the filmmaker. This is an eye level shot when the character is at the eye level of the camera. This is called aerial shot or drone shot these days because you're using a drone. This is also taken by a drone. So where extreme long is taken. It's not ELS. I mean, it can be called as ELS also, but this is from a top angle. So it gives an aerial view. This is called OTS, over the shoulder. When two people are interacting to each other, generally, the other person, when the expressions are shown, it is camera is positioned from here. So this particular thing is visible. So OTS, that's called over the shoulder. And this is called point of view. So maybe you're driving on ceiling. So one shot, extreme long shot, where ceiling and sea and all that is visible. So it establishes the location. Cut to, probably you switch on the music. So a close-up of music system, and you doing something with the buttons, and a mid shot of you driving, and then you doing some action, and probably this shot where you're looking at one direction and then what you're looking at. So this shot can be taken inside from your car, and you're driving. So this is called POV. This is also another example of POV. So you will get a feeling that the character is sitting, as if you are sitting and you are looking at the doll. So it's a POV. Apart from these shots, there are different techniques or symbols which the director uses. So sometimes when you want to show the character is entrapped, or is in the is confined in his thought process, or confined in spaces, you will use an alley. So right now this character is confined to his thoughts. He's into his deep thoughts. So I would like to remove all the distractions and focus on the character, and I have used an alley. It's a closet which will give a feeling of entrapment, and you connect to that character. Then this is another example of entrapment. A Beautiful Mind. This also gives a feeling of entrapment. Then there is a technique where you use images of duality, as in characters are either there's a mirror image, or there's water used where reflection is visible, or the reflection is visible in someone else's eyes or glasses, or there's a glass door where you are walking and the image is getting reflected on this side. So there may be images of duality which are usually represented by characters in mirror, water, or glass. And then there are phallic symbols, which are subtle sexual intonations. So I would say all masti and grand masti and great grand masti use lots and lots of phallic symbols. So this is a screen grab of grand masti, where there is sexual intonation both in the dialogues, but it is also in images. This is another one from the same film. So these are called phallic symbols. Sometimes you use halo effect or to create an aura of an individual. So you will see this particular film is Mohabbatein, where obviously Amitabh Bachchan's baritone voice, and he's the leader of Gurukul, and everybody is looking up to him. So his presence is charismatic, and he has an aura. His personality has an aura. Now, how do you show that? So this is I think an opening scene where he's delivering a talk to his students. So this is done purposefully. You'll see that there's a sun which is, it gives a sun-like feel, and it is a halo effect. Sometimes filmmakers do this. And then there are technical things like headroom, which is the space here. So if you are looking at my screen, so where my head ends and where the screen ends. So this space is called headroom. And when I'm looking like this, so where my screen ends here, and I'm looking at here, so this particular space is called nose room. Look room is where, what is the view I'm looking at. So these are various things when you need to look at when you are composing your image. And all of you do that, right? All of you have cameras, and all of you click images. So somewhere, subtly you do think about all these things. I'm just giving names to these things. Some of you may be aware of these names.
Yes, even while, from phone, when you're clicking, you have to look at the angle for, great picture, everything. This matters a lot.
Correct. So this is an example of headroom where very less headroom is there. In same film, another shot, headroom is more. So generally people say, I mean, a news reader's image, if you see, that is an ideal headroom. But to create cinematic impact, you do play with headroom and nose room. Sometimes you give more nose room, sometimes you give more headroom, or very less headroom, or you don't give headroom at all. You know, character is seen yahan se. So close up ले रहे तो headroom की जरूरत ही नहीं है. So to create different drama, you know, you break these rules. I won't say break these rules, you play around with these rules. So this is a nose room. You'll see that there's a lot of space. Now this particular frame looks odd because there's nothing happening in this space. So the character is looking and this place is blank. I mean, there has to be something happening here. So then it doesn't look dead. Right now it is looking dead. Now here, if you will see, there is again a lot of nose room, but there's something in the background. And in the scene, there's some movement happening. You know, there's a girl lying there and she's, you know, constantly playing and she's teasing her brother. So that moment is happening in the background, and there is nose room, which is high. So it's almost same nose room, but there's something happening in this scene, and here nothing is happening. Then you have depth of field where you shift the focus. So look at the focus shift. Look at these two images. You will understand what I'm trying to tell you. So this is depth of field, how you create depth by shifting focus. So certain characters are out focused, certain characters are focused. So this is another technique. Okay, quickly, I am sharing this link with you all, and you have to attempt this quiz. I have shared a link with you all.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So I want all of you to click on this link. You will find a quiz. Okay. And you all will play this quiz right now. So let me see how much you've understood. And I am live on this quiz. I can see your results. Okay, there are 2 players. Only 2 people have joined so far. I can see you live. You just have to click on that link, do nothing, and you'll enter the quiz room. So come on. I can see Sneha and Tejal. Nimisha ma'am, can you please click the link and put it on the WhatsApp group also, so that students can enter this quiz?
Yes, ma'am, we are doing that.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 7 players. Come on. Start with the quiz. Sixteen people. Can you see the questions? Play this. Did you manage to play? It was just a break. I'll start sharing my screen again.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Some of us are not getting questions. Where do we have to click? Can you please guide us?
You just have to click on it and the quiz appears.
Actually, it's showing participants' name. There are no questions. We are not getting that.
You're not getting the questions?
No, ma'am. Can I show you here from my mobile like this? Is it okay?
It's okay. We can do it later. Let's go
Okay.
to Q&A session. I mean, you can play this quiz later also. I will not, disable this quiz.
Okay, ma'am.
You're not able to attend.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So can we take questions?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Yeah, sure, sure.
So thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind words and giving us knowledge and also to entertain us. We really, really appreciate it. So before moving on to questionnaire round, I would like to make another announcement. So you can fill the feedback form after the session. The link of the feedback form will be open from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Everyone will be getting an e-certificate for participation. Please mention your correct name as well as your college name in the given feedback form. And e-certificate will be given to only those students who attend 2 days of workshop. A healthy communication is the best remedy for every relation. So now we are going to have quick Q&A session to clear all the doubts. I'll share questions, I'll say, and you can answer. I repeat, everyone, please put your questions in live chat or in WhatsApp group. Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, I even personally have some questions. So I'll start with me first. So how did you manage to deliver your motto of your movie to international community?
Well, frankly, I mean, the film is a regional film. It has limitations when it comes to reaching internationally. So I wanted to correct at that time also that I mean, if it is going international, that doesn't mean that it is going international in a big way. At least in Marathi films, for Hindi films, yes. I mean, it's not like Chinese market Dangal, doing a 15 crore, 100 crore business. That's a different case altogether. It's a small film, and regional cinema by default has language limitations. So when this film is screened in international market, there are limited shows, where diasporic communities over there, in US, they ask for this film, and there are one, show or two shows depending on how many audiences are there. So that is how it when it comes to Marathi film like this, or any Marathi film for that matter, this is how shows generally happen. Even plays, Marathi theater, that is how it is done. So through the mandals, there's generally Maharashtra mandals in almost all parts of America and UK and all that. So through these institutions, diasporic communities need for entertainment is identified, and they should be able to watch their region content, because a lot of this televisions are not broadcast in their countries, so they don't get access to regional content. So their need for regional content is there. So such films are taken there and showcased for those audiences.
So next is, since your movie is regional, how did you manage the linguistic barrier of your movie for other audiences, like from Kerala or even many of my friends, they don't speak Marathi, but they like Marathi movies. So for them,
see, there are two ways of looking at it. First and foremost, I did not dub my film in any language. So, I mean, there are filmmakers who dub the film in other languages so that they can, reach to a more diverse, linguistically diverse audience. But those films have that kind of, market appeal. So only when you have that kind of market appeal, it is advisable that you should dub it and showcase it. Otherwise, dubbing cost in itself is so high, and the number of people who are watching the dubbed version is not in great numbers. So then that is a loss in terms of putting in a lot of money and not getting those returns. So that's a decision you have to take. So one option is dubbing, which I obviously did not do, but I did subtitles. So my entire film was subtitled. So those audiences these days are used to watching subtitled film, because there's a lot of international content available. There's Korean film, or there's Japanese film, and all those films are there which has subtitles to it. So we are used to toggling between visuals and text. So that habit we have developed. So at least to make it accessible, that was the least I could do with minimum investment. So subtitles were there. But if I have to give answer to it at a broader level, I would say visuals, cinema, and we discussed about language of cinema. So through these different visual sound elements, even if you don't understand the language, you will still understand the story. If
story, actions and all.
Yes, if the visuals are so powerful. So I personally watch a lot of Malayalam films on Amazon, and I prefer to switch off the subtitles. I don't like, because they distract me a lot. But after a certain number of watching film experience, you get a hang of it. But obviously my first Malayalam film, I needed subtitles, but over the period I now know what is the treatment style used by Malayalam directors. So accordingly, now I have got a hang of it. Same is the case with Korean films. So same is the case with Japanese films. So the more you watch it, the more you get a hang of cultural references, and then it is easy for you to understand the film.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Then another question is from Kadambari, that what type of shots shows a subject down to his or her waist, example showing head and shoulders, and is also known as a mid shot.
Sorry, I didn't hear the first part of the question.
First, what type of shot shows a subject down to his or her waist? For example, showing head and shoulders is also known as mid shot.
Yes, so mid shot would be something which is bust size. Itna agar if you are showing, then it is mid shot. If you go a little down, then it is mid long shot, where up to knee length or slightly up to the knee length you are using. And while you are doing it, the headroom may or may not be there. So that is another thing. So you may cut the headroom and show the mid long shot or mid shot or close up, or you may keep the headroom and still show a close up. Both are permissible. So like I said, there is no standard grammar to it. How you want to create the drama, accordingly you will use the language.
Another is from Kadambari again. What shot is used to represent a character as having power?
If the character is shown to be a negative character, generally, again, it is not a rule. Generally, it is used as a low angle shot. So you will see your Mogambos and Shakals and Badmans and Gulshan Grovers. This was very popular style in 70s and 80s and 90s, where you see entry of the hero, the villain, Mogambo is sitting on his throne, and all people are here, and angles are generally set from here. So those are low angles which you use to show that the character is dominant. But even if the character is positive, a protagonist, at that time also, so Gabbar is back, Akshay Kumar's film. At that time also, when Gabbar is trying to do some action, now that character is protagonist, but he has a negative shade. So fine, he may be doing good to society, but that is not the correct way of doing it. He is using illegal ways. So the character has both the shades, positive and negative. So you will see low angles are used in Gabbar also. So up to you.
Question is from Nisha. How to use content analysis in analyzing the film, while analyzing the film?
Content analysis as a research method, I mean, there is a code sheet and there is a coder sheet, and there are different types of coding systems used, but there is no universal code system. It depends on the researcher, what he or she is trying to look at in the film content. So there is no standard code sheet, and rather there should not be any standard code sheet. So content of the film can be analyzed both quantitatively and qualitatively. So if you are looking at the quantitative content analysis, then what are you looking at? You are looking at the numbers. You're looking at statistics. So probably how many times this particular lighting technique was used, how many times close shot was used, how many times long shot was used, how many characters were there, how many characters of the, so one research which I had done, it was not about film, but it was about ad films. So it was a quantitative content analysis where I tried to look at how many primary characters are there in the ad and how many secondary characters are there in the ad. Second parameter I used was how many of them are fair, how many of them are dusky, how many of them are dark. Now these are quantitative measures. So I just have to tick fair character, dusky character, dark character. I can do this, or for that matter, anybody who looks at those ad films will have the same parameters. There is no qualitative mapping of it. But if you're looking at qualitative content analysis, then probably I'm looking at a research topic like how the eunuchs are represented in cinema, or how the character of father is shown in Hindi cinema. So how the character of father has evolved over the years. So probably, you will pick up 5 films from each decade, identify films where father's role is there more than 10 minutes or 15 minutes on screen, and then you're looking at dialogues, camera angle, shot type. Again, so here you're not quantifying it. You're not saying that 3 mid shots and 10 mid long shots. You're looking at the overall characterization. So it is a qualitative mapping. So content analysis can be done quantitatively and qualitatively, depending on how you want to look at it. So one research in the department we had done where we looked at 4 Devdas. So PC Barua, Dilip Kumar, Shah Rukh Khan, and Devdi, Anurag Kashyap. So 4 characters, and we looked at how alcohol is shown in all these 4 films. Secondly, how prostitution is shown. What is the character of Paro and Chandramukhi? So Madhuri's character. So how it is portrayed. So likewise, there's so many. There was one research where we did how Mangal Sutra as an artifact is used in Hindi cinema from 50s to 2000. So many elements are there. There was one article which I was reading, and it mentioned what kind of books are read on screen. So when the character is shown reading something on screen, what are the books? So they generally looked at the titles of the books. So there's so many, multiple ways of doing research. It's fun. So quantitative, qualitative, both. I will not give you code sheet because it is up to you how you want to experiment with your data.
Thank you, ma'am. Amazingly explained. Now we have another interesting question. How can you differentiate 90s cinema with 20s cinema in terms of logic, storytelling, common sense?
They can't be compared. I don't think so. It will be fair for me to do a comparison of 90s and 2000, because every decade has its own socio-cultural setup, technological advancement. So Appu Raja is way better in terms of characterization and then Zero, but Zero is way better than Appu Raja in terms of technology. So it will be unfair to compare 90s with 2000. And logic, if I say, all cinema has logic. Nobody wants to make an illogical film. So everybody understands the logic of the audience, and accordingly. So if Manmohan Desai is showing the character is jumping from fourth floor, Manmohan Desai is aware that it is not practically possible, but he's still doing it. You understand? So it's not that he is doing it because he doesn't know the logic behind it. It's just that is how the audiences want the characters to be. They want the characters to be larger than life. Hero has to be something who is beyond the normal. So how do you show him? You'll exaggerate the character. So even your villains, these days you don't have villains who have fancy characters, fancy makeup, and some cut marks and all that. You don't do that. So because you wanted to make the characters so loud, again, audience literacy, media literacy, understanding has also changed over the years. Back then in 60s, 70s, audience's understanding of shots and compositions was very low. Now, today's audiences, everybody has a smartphone, or rather at least 75% of the India's population is having phones. And they have basic, if not smartphones, they know basic clicking. So click, shot, backgrounding, foregrounding, pan left, pan right, white balance. They may not be aware of these terminologies, but somewhere they are conscious and aware of these. And there are so many editing apps these days you are using. So they are aware of basic editing techniques also, if not pro. So visual literacy of audiences has evolved over the years. And therefore you see the difference in the way cinematic treatment is done.
Thank you, ma'am. So next question is from our professor, Sneha ma'am. So her question is, scope of regional cinema is current scenario. Like now regional cinema is getting importance than earlier. So what will be the future of regional cinema?
Again, I will not put all regional cinema under one belt, because regional cinema is very broad term, and in a country like India, you're talking about so many regions. So there is a Konkani film, and there is an Ahirani film, and there is a Marathi film within Maharashtra. So there is a Malegaon where North Maharashtra film are made in Ahirani languages, which probably many of you may not be even aware of. So, and there's Konkani films also, and it's not now. Konkani films are like made since many years. So regional cinema, if I'm talking about Marathi cinema, all three are regional cinema. Amongst these three, Marathi is performing slightly better over Konkani and Malegaon films. Gujarati films of late is picking up slowly. Gujarati theatre was very strong, but Gujarati films, theatre films, are not very popular. So that region cannot be compared with Marathi Maharashtra film, or Northeast films, Naga film, Assamese film, Bengali films. Yes, they are doing good. South is fantastic. So South is also regional cinema. Malayalam, Telugu, Tamil, all three belts. Fantastic film, because southern audiences watch only South films. In fact, South films are doing very good outside their territory also. So in Mumbai also, places like Matunga, where southern diaspora is very high, you will see that theaters near that area have at least one show of South Indian film. Maybe Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, whichever it is. A film like Arya, Allu Arjun's, was a nationwide hit. So diasporic communities across pan India have watched that film. Kannada film is again slowly picking up. Now in Hindi film, I will say Bollywood is different and Hindi cinema is different. So there is a Maithili film, there is a UP which is made for those locals. I will not say B grade and C grade and D grade. I prefer not to grade these films. But this is how it is. So regional cinema, I will not say, use it as a collective term, and I will say, oh, they have a very bright future. All regional cinema have their own struggles. But yes, amongst them, Marathi films and Bengali films are, if I remove the Southern belt, because Southern belt is a different market altogether. So Marathi and Bengali films are doing slightly better over other regional cinema. And in terms of commercial successes, I would say not all films are commercially successful, both Bengalis also and Marathi films also. There's only, I would say 5% films which are commercially successful, though the number of films which are made has increased tremendously, but that doesn't mean that the film is doing business. So there is a turnover of the industry which is increasing, but there is no return on investment. These are two different things.
Okay. Another question is, are subtitles in films useful to learn new languages?
New languages, but subtitles are generally in English.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're saying that if you want to learn English, then will subtitles help you learn English? Then yes, probably, because you're trying to, there is a motivation to understand the visuals. You want to understand what is being said. So there is a liking to read that text. But English can be learned anyway by reading newspaper also. It's just that when you're reading newspaper, there is no liking. There is no motivation to read newspaper the way you want to, interpret the visuals. That's the only difference.
Another question is from Sonali Sohani. How do the setting, characters, and plot affect the development of the story?
It is important. I have already explained that plot, setting, diagram, all of it is very important. So they can't be looked at in isolation that, okay, setting was important, plot was important. Every cinema, you can't study each elements in isolation. It is always a collective impact. If the story fails, film will fail. If the direction fails, film will fail. If the music fails, film will fail. So, everything, it is a complete package. So film is never an individual's effort. It's always a collective effort. Your team has to be good.
Next question from Mona Lisa Mehta. How do you know all these things, and is there any course you had done?
Well, yes, formally I am a master's in communication studies, and I have worked hands-on on films, I mean short film, then I helped in conceptualizing ad films, promos, and then I have already made one film. So I would still not say that I'm an expert in this. I'm learning. I've done blunders in my first film, but I think I have learned from my mistakes, and next film I will make new blunders. I will not say that I'm not committing mistakes. So you learn from your experience. So the more you work on the art, the more better you will be in it.
Okay, next question from Fiza Sheikh. How censorship works? I mean, on what basis they decide that this language may sound offensive to people?
Well, I have a different take on this. Censorship or censor board role is just to certify audience appropriateness to the films. Ideally, their job is not to say that you're supposed to delete this thing, unless it is of national integrity and security and all that. But otherwise, you're just supposed to say this film is appropriate for an adult audience which is 18 plus. That's about it. And this film is appropriate for both the audience, parental supervision. Under parental supervision, children can watch this film, or this is universal appeal and everybody can watch this film. Your job is to certify them. What is the full form? Central Board of Film Certification. You're just supposed to certify. Just do your job. That's what I feel.
Another question is from Monica Sharma. What is your perspective on OTT platform being brought under censorship?
There are both views to it. I mean, there will be more governmental control now. If you've read the policy paper, I don't know how many of you've done it. I think I have it. I'll share if I can find it with Nimisha ma'am. But the first and foremost thing that I see is there will be a lot of government regulation on it, unlike it was before. There will be control in terms of content presentation, because there's something called, I mean, when we talk about regulation, there's institutional regulation, and then there is self-regulation. So because OTT platforms lacked self-regulation, institutional regulation was imposed on them. But if I say that they are lacking self-regulation, I would say rather than doing that, you should, have measures where, audience appropriateness can be checked. Unlike theaters where, you have to show your age card and enter the room. That is a threat in, digital space where you don't know who is watching your content. And probably for those reasons, there has been a check on the content, because it had almost become from soft porn to hard porn. And if there was no check, it would have been, very explicit, sexually explicit content. There is no harm in showing sexually explicit content, but you need to understand for which audience you want to show it. And there is no way where you can check the audience, and therefore this regulation was needed. But it's too early to comment on it, because we need to see how, what impact this regulation will be having on OTT platform. So probably 6 years down the lane, I'll be in a better position to answer this question.
Thank you so much, ma'am, to answer all the questions so radiantly. So now I would like to call upon our respected professor, Mrs. Kritika Madhavkar, to give vote of thanks to our guest.
A warm and graceful afternoon to our most valued guest, trustee, resource person, our principal Asha Menon ma'am, coordinators, staff members, teachers, alumni, and my dear students. I, Kritika Madhavkar, on behalf of BMM department, extend a hearty vote of thanks to our resource person, Ms. Devita Patil ma'am, for gracing your informative ideas with us. You made us realize about the vast boundaries of filmmaking. Today, you have put up the lights upon the language of cinema, which made us understand the key dynamics of what film is made up of and how the movie is molded. It was a wonderful session which made us aware and understand the great potential of cinema and immense power of the artist by sharing many enriching experience. I would also like to thank the Students Committee and the support staff for the complete preparation and making the session successful. Thank you wholeheartedly.
Thank you, ma'am. I repeat, you can fill the feedback form after this session. The link of the feedback form will be open from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Everyone will be getting an e-certificate for participation. Please mention your correct name as well as your college name in the given feedback form. And e-certificate will be given to only those students who attend 2 days of workshop. So at the end, I would like to thank our principal and teachers for guiding us throughout this event. Let's end this session now. You have been a great audience. Yes, ma'am, you want to say?
Just wait, she wants, ma'am wants to say something.
Yes, I see.
I have shared the link, revised link of the quiz, just in case if anybody wishes to attempt it. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, we will definitely play that quiz, we'll attain. You can see us there. So,
okay.
Is that it? You want to say something?
No, thank you so much. Thank you for tolerating me.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot for sharing your valuable time. I know she's very busy, but still she has agreed upon our invitation immediately. There was change in schedule. Still she agreed. So thanks a lot, ma'am. And we will like to meet you in future also, only for our BMM crowd and have more deeper interactions. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
It was really great show. You all have been great audience. Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am.
Can I leave the meeting? Thank you.